In 14 flights to Antarctica, Air New Zealand had offered passengers from around the world a chance to see the last great frontier.
Absolutely fabulous, and I've never seen anything like it in my life.
Is it how you expected?
It's beyond anything I've ever dreamt of.
It was a dream experience from the cocktail party comfort of an aircraft dedicated to passenger pleasure.
Oh, it's fantastic.
Is it better than you expected?
Oh, I don't know what I expected. It's just beautiful.
The first flight was due over 2 weeks earlier, and I thought I was going to take a good picture of the flight over. It was going to be a dramatic picture that I would then go and sell to Air New Zealand. Well, 2 weeks before the plane came over, the wreck was at 16,000 feet. It was a dot in the pictures. The following week, I thought, oh, I'm not going to make any kind of spare pocket money by selling a picture to Air New Zealand of a dot in the sky. So I was doing some work around the base, and I didn't even have my camera armed and the plane came over very low. And so on the 28th of November, I was ready and waiting.
November the 28th, 1979. These are my recollections of the evening, and bearing in mind, I know that memory can play tricks on you. 6:30 news, it went for half an hour, not sure who the newsreader was. At the end of that news, I believe that there was a report that Air New Zealand was concerned about a sightseeing plane to Antarctica that was late in returning. The evening's viewing then, Gemini Man, Barney Miller Armchair Thriller, or Fantastic Journey, Who Pays the Ferryman Taxi. I can't remember what channel I was on.
You could turn the Scott base radio over to the control tower channel, and you could listen to conversation between people in the control tower and pilots. And on the 28th of November, I was listening because I wanted to rush out and get a really good photograph. And then the radio went silent. And nobody thought anything much of it at that stage because radio communications were notoriously unreliable in Antarctica.
There was a late night news at 9:30 or 10 o'clock, and during that news, I think they said that they were really concerned about the Air New Zealand plane because it would have run out of fuel by now. And then at the end of that news, they crossed to Murray Davis, the chair of Air New Zealand, that famous shot with him looking so grim at the end of that long table.
Circumstances indicate that any chance that is a very, very slim one.
I think that's when I and everyone realised that a major catastrophe had happened.
Ironically, Antarctica is a very quiet place. There's not much traffic noise, there's no animal noise, and yet my abiding memory of the evening is noise, just the constant drone of the planes either flying, getting ready to take off, coming in and landing. And it was about midnight that night that they found the wreckage on the slopes of Mt Erebus.
New Zealand, Air New Zealand, Antarctica changed forever. And vividly remember the next morning at school, everyone talking about it and everyone asking each other whether they'd lost family members on the Erebus flight.
At Scott Base, there was one technician from Auckland University whose father-in-law was Peter Mulgrew. And so that Scott Base actually, apart from being physically very close to the crash site, and then, of course, the whole organisation of the recovery effort, the people in Scott Base were also personally affected, as in everybody knew Dave Heyman. They'd been to Tekapo training camp with him, and so that it was in some ways a double tragedy for people at Scott Base. It happened in their backyard, and they were personally affected. I was put on one of the two helicopters that went up, and my job was to take photographs. We circled over the crash site and took a whole lot of photographs of this awful smear in the snow. But when I got back into the Scott Base darkroom and developed the pictures, I immediately knew which was the picture that would have the greatest impact. It was the picture of the tail of the DC10 with the Koru sign on the snow. And, that symbolised the tragedy because the Koru sign was so identifiable, not just with Air New Zealand, but with New Zealand as a whole.
The thing I didn't realise before I came to Antarctica and Ross Island is a huge presence of Mt Erebus. It's right in the middle of Ross Island. It sits there. You can see it the whole time. It's an active volcano, so the whole time it's kind of smoking away, erupting. And of course, for my whole time down here, I've been continually reminded about that day in 1979, probably the greatest of the recent tragedies. And that's been a whole almost melancholy underfeel to my whole trip down here. It's been an amazing trip, But Erebus has always sort of been reminding me of the mortality of this place.